迷雾降世，神明复苏。在灰白色的地球上，大夏已成唯一的孤岛。觉醒禁虚能力的超凡之人因此集结，束手长夜，警戒来临。他们被称为守夜人，而被7位神明选中的少年07夜，执掌囚禁诸神的病院，破除封禁，踏上为誓言坚守10年的斩神之路。
我再说最后一次，大夏境内，神明进行。
5 years ago, Lin Xie began having strange dreams. Every night when he went to sleep, he would find himself standing outside the gates of a mysterious and eerie mental hospital. In this illogical dream, he would knock on the door of the mental hospital night after night, hoping to gain entry. For 5 years, he has been haunted by this recurring dream, and although this mental hospital seems to be calling out to him, he has never been able to enter. He has come to understand that in this strange world, he is powerless to do anything else but knock on the door. Someone was knocking at Lin Xie's door. It was his younger cousin Yang Jing, calling out to him that the food was ready. Yang Jing is Lin Xie's aunt's son, 4 years younger. Since Lin Xie's parents went missing, he had been staying with his aunt's family and growing up together with Yang Jing. Their relationship was closer than that of real brothers. For 10 years, Lin Xie, his aunt, his cousin Yang Jing, and a little black dog had formed a close-knit family. Being blind from a young age, he relied heavily on his aunt and cousin for support. He always felt indebted to them for their help and kindness. The doctor is here again to check on his status. The doctor asked Lin Xie how he had lost his sight. Lin Xie answered that it was because of what he had seen 10 years ago. On that fateful night, he saw an angel, Michael, before the moon. Under the dark, silent sky, the barren surface of the moon reflected only a dim starlight. In the center of the largest crater on the moon stood a figure that seemed like a statue, gazing down upon the world. Golden rays of light shone around him, and 6 golden wings spread behind his back. His majestic presence was deeply imprinted in Lin Xie's mind, and he could not forget it. Lin Xie locked eyes with the angel for a moment, and from that day forward, he could no longer open his eyes. But that's just my delusion, Lin Xie put up his hands and added. When he told the doctor what he had seen before, he was diagnosed with a delusional mental illness and was sent to Sunlight Mental Hospital for treatment for a year. Nowadays, Lin Xie no longer tries to explain what had happened to him to any mental health professionals. No one would believe his story, and it would only lead to him being sent back to the mental hospital. Instead, he jokes around with the doctors during their visits and lets them think what they want. The doctor proceeds to conclude that he is normal on the paper and left. During dinner, Yang Jing asked, "Brother, are your eyes getting better?" Lin Xie smiled slightly and replied, "Yes, but I'm still not very good with bright lights." He further announced that he was planning on taking the college entrance exams. He knew that he needed to catch up with his peers by transferring from a school for the blind to a regular high school. His goal was to attend a university and secure a good job so that he could repay his aunt and cousin who had taken care of him all these years. After returning to his room and closing the door, Lin Xie slowly removing the satin ribbon from his eyes. With all his might, he tried to open them, clenching his fists and shaking his body in desperation. But after a long while of trembling and gasping for air, he realized that his eyes still wouldn't open. Lin Xie, though he had lied about his sight being restored, he still couldn't open his eyes, not even a sliver. However, he wasn't entirely dishonest either, for he could see everything around him, even with his physical eyes closed. 5 years ago, Lin Xie's eyes began to change, allowing him to perceive everything around him in a new way. At first, he could only see a few centimeters, but over time his vision improved, allowing him to see farther and clearer. Now, after 5 years, he can see up to 10 meters away. For a normal person, this might not be a great distance, but for him who had lost his sight, it was everything. What's more, His vision was unobstructed, which meant he had an absolute or perspective view. Looking up at the bright moon in the sky, Lin Chia whispered to himself, "Are you still watching over me?" With a long sigh, he turned his head and prepared to sleep, knowing that he would soon be knocking on the door in his dream once again. At this moment, in the old city district of Sengnan, under the dim moonlight, a secret battle is unfolding. Several figures wearing red cloaks are moving quickly through the old buildings, chasing after a mysterious monster ahead. The monster wears a mask on its head, and its fingertips are full of power. On the other side, a burly man was carrying a notice board and calmly placed it down, adjusting it to be straight. The notice board had several large words that were very eye-catching, reading, "No entry." The man then lit a cigarette for himself and put on his earphones. "Captain, the third notice board is in place," he said before forming a hand seal with his fingers and narrowing his gaze. A mysterious energy burst forth from him, centered on his body. The man crouched down and made another hand seal, before disappearing into a void, opening up a boundary-free spatial realm. A dark red beam of light shot up into the sky. If someone were to look down upon the city of Sengnan from the sky at this moment, they would notice 3 points of light flickering near the old town area. Then, using these 3 points as vertices, a dark red equilateral triangle-shaped barrier is quickly formed. As soon as the triangle barrier takes shape, half of the old town area, which it covers, starts to gradually disappear from the map. The mysterious monsters being chased are now trapped within the barrier and cannot escape. The red-cloaked figures chasing it have already started their elimination mission. At Sengnan City No. 6 Middle School, a young man holding a white cane drew attention from the crowd as he entered the gate of the school. They whispered and stared at him, some even admired his handsome appearance. However, some also wondered how he could attend classes here since there was no special class for the blind in their school. Despite their discussions, Lin Chia walked confidently toward the teaching building. He had experienced this kind of discussion many times in his life to be bothered by it. He has come prepared to face all kinds of challenges, including dealing with bullies, discrimination against disabled people like him, and being an outsider among classmates. As Lin Chia walked into the classroom of Grade 10 Class 2, after a brief introduction by the teacher, everything he expected did not come true. Instead, he was greeted with a warm welcome from his classmates. A girl quickly stepped forward to help him. "Chia, let me take you to your seat." Before Lin Chia could react, several classmates approached him, enthusiastically looking after him. After class, they gathered around his seats. "Chia, I'm the class monitor, Jiang Qian. If you need anything, just let me know," said the first girl to lend him a hand, patting her chest. "I'm Li Fei. If you want to grab a bite, let me know. I'll take you there." The boy who helped him with the bag laughed. "And I'm Lu Yuan," said the boy sitting. At that moment, Lin Chia was a bit at a loss. To be honest, it was not what he had imagined. He muttered in a strange tone, "Do you all know me?" Only then did a classmate say that Lin Chia's aunt had come by before. That day, Lin Chia's aunt stood at the entrance of the classroom and sent each of the students off with sweets, asking them to take care of Lin Chia. In an instant, it was like a thunderbolt struck Lin Chia's mind. So that was it. He wiped the slight dampness off the ribbon on his eyes, which had appeared unknowingly. Until the teacher for the next class came in, Lin Chia's attention was turned to focus on the lesson. The teacher explained 100 years ago, there were still more than 200 countries on Earth, distributed across the 7 continents and 4 oceans. However, on that day, a boundless and mysterious fog suddenly appeared over the South Pole. The poisonous fog spread at an alarming speed, and in just 24 hours, it had engulfed nearly 98% of the Earth's surface. The fog was completely beyond human understanding, and no detection methods could penetrate it. No one knew if there were any other countries outside the fog, and perhaps the Xia is the last survivor on this planet. As Lin Chia is focusing in class, the battle between the secret red-cloaked individuals and the mysterious monster in the sewage system of Sengnan City continued. A girl with a long spear in hand pierced through the air and split the mask-wearing monster in front of her into 2, She turned to her teammates and shouted, "Don't leave any behind, kill them all!" 2 other members of the Red Cloak team responded, and they formed a triangle formation, standing firm against their opponents. The long spear girl waved her spear and a bloody red light flashed through the air, instantly killing 3 monsters in front of her. Her decisive and powerful fighting skills were apparent, as she was the team's main damage dealer. Just as the long spear girl finished the battle and relaxed, boasting about her victory, the man next to her looked horrified and said in a stuttering voice, "Hong Ying, behind." Suddenly, behind the long gun girl, an abnormally tall ghost-faced monster appeared. Just as Hong Ying's teammates reminded her to turn around, in an instant, a huge force claw behind her pierced her chest, and blood splattered. The tall ghost-faced monster swung its force claw and threw Hong Ying several meters away. This sudden change caught the other 2 teammates off guard. At this moment, Hong Ying did not faint, but rather gritted her teeth and spoke into her earpiece, reporting that there had been a serious misjudgment in the operation. The earpiece immediately transmitted an urgent call, but this time there was no answer. At dusk, after school at number 6 high school, groups of students chatted and walked through the sunset. After a day of torment, this was their most relaxed time. Jiang Qian, Li Yifei, and Lu Yuan specially accompanied Lin Qie home after school. When the 4 of them arrived at an abandoned sewage tunnel, Lin Qie suddenly stopped. This smell. A nauseating stench suddenly rushed into his nostrils. As a person who had been blind for a long time, his other senses were especially sensitive. The other 3 people noticed that Lin Qie had stopped and followed his gaze, becoming curious about the deep and dark abandoned tunnel. Lin Qie asked if the other 3 had smelled anything strange. With his signal, they also noticed a particularly pungent odor. The 4 of them moved toward the dark tunnel, but as they approached, the odor became stronger and stronger. Lu Yuan turned on his phone's flashlight. What they saw was a shocking scene. The first thing they saw was a female corpse covered in bloodstains, which frightened Jiang Qian to the point of weakness in the legs, causing the other 2 to back away in terror. This was not something ordinary high school students had ever seen. Surprisingly, Lin Qie behind the 3 had no reaction as his perceptual distance was only 10 meters, and he had no idea what had happened ahead. Just as Lu Yuan was retreating in fear, the beam of light from his phone swept upwards, and the 3 saw that the female corpse was being bitten on the shoulder by a monster the size of a brown bear. The monster also saw the people clearly at this moment, let go of the female corpse, and roared fiercely at them. The first one to react was Li Yifei. He turned around and ran, reminding the 3 of them not to stand there and start running quickly. The other 2 ran out. The screams of the 3 made Lin Qie nervous, but he still didn't know what was happening in front of him. When the monster caught up, its huge figure appeared in Lin Qie's absolute vision. At this moment, Lin Qie had already fallen behind the 3. Jiang Qian, who was in front of Lin Qie, turned her head back and looked at the situation, but the monster was too fast, and if she continued to run, she would definitely be caught. In the next moment, she quickly pulled off her backpack and threw it at Lin Qie. Perhaps she thinks that it's okay if she can't outrun the monster, as long as she can outrun others. Lin Qie was taken aback. He couldn't believe that the shy and kind class monitor would actually attack him like this. In a split second, Lin Qie reacted, lowered his body, and avoided the backpack that was thrown at him. The backpack flew past him and hit the monster behind him. Jiang Qian had just run out of the tunnel at this moment. The next moment, another terrifying figure suddenly appeared in the sight of Lin Qie. The terrifying figure instantly bit down on Jiang Qian's head. At this moment, Lin Qie was surrounded by monsters in front and behind, and a resolute will erupted at this moment. He had to fight. The white cane in his hand became his weapon, and with the will to survive, he sent a fierce blow toward the monster in front of him. With a bang, the monster was forcibly knocked to the side. However, a sharp pain came from below, as the monster behind him swung its powerful claw and hit his leg, causing him to tumble out. After the severe pain, his leg was seriously injured and unusable. At this time, Lin Xie quickly checked the situation. The monster that he had knocked to the side was now gnawing at Jiang Qian. Another monster was slowly approaching him from the front, while the hungry growls from behind could be heard. Suddenly, a monster appeared above his head and pounced toward him. At this moment, Lin Xie wanted to curse. Why was he so unlucky? For so many years, he had been injured, blinded, and treated as a mental patient. He had endured everything so far. Finally, he was about to start a new life, but he met these ugly monsters. A sense of despair swept over him. Under the pressure of death, the anger and resentment that had been suppressed in Lin Xie's heart for years erupted like a volcano. He was not convinced. A strange feeling suddenly surged into his heart. The pair of eyes that had been tightly closed for 10 years suddenly opened, and dazzling golden light shone through the red ribbon. At this moment, the angel on the moon palace felt something and looked back at the human world. Lin Xie was enveloped in a blazing light, and his golden pupils glanced at the monster above him. The monster burst into pieces, leaving only scattered blood stains. In an instant, a brilliant column of hot light erupted from the edge of the old city, reaching up to the sky. As Lin Xie was facing a life-and-death crisis, several minutes before he unleashed his powerful force, the man who placed the notice sign had removed the boundless domain, running through the streets. The rugged man is contacting the heavily injured spear-wielding girl Honging. Honging has already been rescued by her teammates, and her injuries have been stabilized by their power of forbidden ruin. By then, the mission of the three-person team had failed, and the giant monster who attacked Honging was a king-level monster, Ghost Mask King, who had ascended from the group of monsters. Upon being informed of the appearance of the Ghost Mask King, and that 3 Ghost Mask monsters have fled, the rugged man turned around and rushed to the possible escape route of the Ghost Mask monsters. Just then, a dazzling light shone from the front of the rugged man. The next moment, a pillar of scorching light shot up to the sky, and the sudden change surprised the man. The huge pillar of light appeared in full view of the public. The person in the red cloak turned his head to look, his eyes full of shock. This forbidden ruin power was at least level 5, or possibly level 6, Klein. They all had the same question in their minds. Why such a powerful being is at this small city of Tsengnan? Another person in the red cloak, who was monitoring the situation from behind, immediately made a judgment after seeing Lin Xie awaken. This was not like the common forbidden ruin, but more like the ruin from the divine world, divine ruin. The light was scorching, sacred, and powerful. If he was not mistaken, it was the power of the divine, the king of angels, Michael, code name 003.